What is going on, everybody? We've got a new addition to the Mortal Kombat 1 roster. The latest DLC has given us access to Quan Chi. Now, I personally have been waiting for the release of this character ever since the release of this game. There were two that I wanted to play: Reptile, which I've made more than enough content for, and there's still more coming, and Quan Chi, who I was just waiting to get my hands on. He's a very, very interesting character. I think he's one of the most entertaining ones in the game, but he's pretty locked down to a concrete game plan that we're gonna cover today. So let's go ahead into training mode. I'm going to walk you through his game plan, his important buttons, what your overall goal is, which is essentially the same as his game plan or his win con, however you like to refer to it. Terminology is a fun thing. And then I'm going to cover some different cameo options that you have access to if you'd like to take your Quan Chi to the next level. I'll also let you know which ones I think are stronger than the others, but I'm going to talk about the most common four that I've seen for Quan Chi users that I think if you really want to play him at his highest level, you'll at least have to bundle him somewhere with these four, and then maybe my opinion on that will change in the future. But I've done a fair amount of research on this character to get this information ready for you guys. Today, I'm super excited to cover it. So let's talk about Quan. What are we trying to do? We have a very, very simple game plan. If you ever, forgive me, I hit that button by accident. If you're ever trying to figure out where you need to be winning as Quan Chi, the answer is as far away from your opponent as humanly possible. The farther away you can stay from them throughout the entirety of the match, the better you're going to do as Quan, right? He is the closest we've had to a premier zoner. He really just wants to be zoning the whole time. Now, that's not to say that he doesn't have options when he gets close to you, but his options all become incredibly risky, incredibly unsafe, easily telegraphed if you're not insane at mixing them up. So you'll have to cover yourself the closer you are to your opponent. You want to be anywhere from default range to farther. Essentially, stand 3, I'm going to note it as a button and talk about it in a bit. If you're any closer, like if stand 3 can hit, you're closer than you want to be to them, right? Stand 3 is a great button, but not in the way that we want to use it here in neutral. If it can hit, we'd prefer to be farther away. So, a couple of important, notable normals for Quan Chi that you're going to want to keep track of. You have an 8-framer in your stand 1. Ideally, if you're going to be punishing with stand 1, you just want to go into stand 1-3, right? If you do stand 1-2, it is possible to combo off of it, but at the cost of meter. And with Quan, our meter management is very important because we need it for other things. Ideally, we're trying to go into portal specifically so we don't have to use meter. We'll talk about that in a bit. But if you could go for 1-3 instead, you can get routes like this, which will put you plus 33 at distance. If you prefer extra frame advantage, sorry, forgive me, this will put you full screen at 39 frames. That's like a B&B. Get him away from me, get him away from me, get him away from me. Set up, be annoying, set up, be annoying, right? Those are examples of what you're going to do off of your stand 1. You have a down 1, but your down 1 is 9 frames of startup, and it is minus 10 on block. So this is very punishable by a good amount of the cast. Minus 10 for a down 1 poke is crazy. You already have to worry about characters like Johnny, Li Mei, Liu Kang punishing you for things like this. It's not the easiest thing for everybody to punish. Of course, it's still a fighting game and most people will let it rock. But it is important to note that it's minus 10 and that's not good. I like down 4 as a poke. It is a farther reaching low. You see down 1 and down 4 both kind of get the job done, but down 4 is easier to convert into other things if you want to be a little cheeky. Not to say that you can't do the same with down 1. I like down 4 better for it though. Has like a lick more range than down 1 has, I feel like. You see here, down 4 will connect here, down 1 whiffs, down 4 hits. So I'll go for down 4. It is 13 frames on startup compared to down 1, which is going to be 9. But of course, we talked about the caveat with down 1 on block. And if you look at down 4 on block, it's minus 6, and you're a lot farther from the opponent. So I prefer using it if I can get away with the startup. Ideally, if we're getting into a mashing contest, don't go for it. Stand 3. Very far reaching. It is a high. You will notice this pattern with a lot of Quan Chi offense, that they're all going to be highs, right? Our stand 1, which is our fastest punish, is a high. Our stand 3, which is a good kind of like whiff punish check, is a high. You don't necessarily want to use it that way. It is best used as an anti-air. We don't have to be anywhere near close to the opponent, and we can still get our pushback. Forward 2-1 for damage. Forward 4-4 for frames. Same way we did before. It'll work the same way too. Plus 33 on forward 2-1. If I said forward 1-2 before that, forgive me, my memory's bad. If I didn't, I didn't say that. Forward 4-4 for frames, and plus 39 when you do it in the combo, which will let you set a portal, which we'll talk again about in a bit. One of the great things with this anti-air, just to sell how strong it actually is, we're going to set the opponent full screen. I'm going to record him jumping at me from full screen. I'm going to activate that recording. I'm not going to move, and I can still get the same conversion from that far away. This is how good of an anti-air stand 3 can be. I can be full screen, and I can counter somebody for overextending. It's not going to be your universal answer to everything in the game or to every jump in, but if you can get people to get frustrated with projectiles and overextend with their jump in, characters like Johnny, who usually have a jump in for it, that would be ridiculous to deal with, will fall victim to this stand 3 anti-air. Of course, you could always decide that you still want to anti-air with stand 1, and that's going to come with all of the caution that most stand 1 anti-airs would come in with, right? They're going to lose the jump kicks and whatnot. Stand 3 will relatively be a better answer. It's jump cancelable, which is also how you get this conversion. So you're going to press 3, hold up forward, and then start comboing them in the air. Other noticeable strings, 214, very good. 214, well actually 2144 to talk about the full thing, right? 12 frames of startup. So you do not want to treat this as your most optimal start. It's one of my favorite ones to use, but you want to make sure that 12 frames is going to beat out whatever they're mashing with. But if you can trick them, or if you can shimmy somebody with something or get them to fall for a stagger, 2144 is a very important string. It ends in double overhead, which is one of the reasons it's so good. You have specials, like your down back 4, that are lows. So if they start stand blocking, you can get a little cheeky there. Now you are taking risk with a special like that. This isn't a free mix. Oh my God, menu. Okay. Apparently I've never navigated a pause menu in my life. So you are taking a chance. If they block this, you're minus 22. That's death, right? You get 2 opportunities to try to mix them forward. The first overhead or the second overhead, which can both be canceled into low. And if you're so confident it's going to hit, you can also spend meter, even though for Quan Chi it's an expensive cost of meter, to get conversions into whatever you want back into your game plan, into zoning, right? This is essentially everything that he's looking for, but this is a very expensive read that you're going for, and if you're wrong, you still die. So you want to be confident if you're going to go for that. I wouldn't suggest it in most situations, but 214 opens opportunities for it. If you're using a cameo like Goro, who's not in my list of meta ones, but you know, we like having fun with the game. I love Goro as a cameo. You can use Goro Scoop, essentially, right? Once you get them to start expecting this, you've killed yourself for it enough times, you can do the 2-1 and then potentially do Goro Scoop, but that's you assuming they know that you know that they know, and it gets fancy. Ideally, either finish the string and try to stop in a manner that you're safe. You'll see if you stagger here on the 4, you're minus 5, so you're generally fine. If you finish the string, you're minus 8 at decent distance. Most characters aren't going to be able to do anything about that. Most. I think Lee May can still get her a special cancel on you. And if you're really worried, sometimes you can try to activate Rune, amplified version. It's actually called Psycho Skull in this game, not Rune. And you're minus 3. There is a gap there, which is going to be a big problem with Quan Chi, is that there's a gap in everything that you do. I'll showcase that in a second so you understand the risk you're taking when you fight smarter players. But 214, very good string. With some characters, you can even get conversions off of that. I'll talk about that when I start getting into cameo usage. But I like this string a lot. Another Opti starter, I consider it an Opti starter. Back 3-4, 16 frames of startup on the back 3. It does hit low, so you can kind of, I don't know, convince people you're going to do something else. I wouldn't use this overhead to do it. Essentially, it's just if they're not blocking. Back 3-4-2 is very good. Leads into combos like this. Leads into his bread and butter. This is mostly if you fight Quan Chi's, this is the combo you'll see them doing off of back 3. It's a great whiff punish tool. So if we set our opponent, let's say, to do a string that's like also really good, and then we activate that recording. Sorry. Oh, I'm the worst. Oh, I'm the worst. You can whiff punish people for doing this, is what I was trying to say. You can also use it in some situations to challenge things like pokes. If we were to set him to do this, let me see if I can remember how to set this up for you guys. We're going to go back to custom dummy and then put reversal mode on and then set it to the recording and then see, yeah, if he's going to poke back. You could do things like stand 3 and then back, oh my god, stand 3 at certain distances and then back away from people and then whiff punish them for jabbing. It's not the most consistent mind game I would try to play with everybody in the world, but it's there, so I think it's important to note. It's also just really good for combos. You can also juggle it meterless in the corner if that's something that entertains you. I have routes that I do off of that. Again, when we start talking about cameos, etc., right? But you can get things like this in the corner. Oh, I'm horrible. Oh, let's do a route I like. Right, so that leads into meterless combos in the corner that you could do. Really great for that, but ideally in most situations, you're gonna go for back 3-4 and then just finish the string. And if they block the string, you're gonna find some cheeky way to protect yourself. Why is he not blocking everything I'm doing? Why is he not blocking everything that I'm doing? I'd like you to block, please. Oh, is it because he has reversal mode on? It is, okay. Try to cheekily protect yourself. There's gaps there. Okay, speaking of which, let's talk about these gaps. Very easy way to check this if you're ever curious about this too, right? We're going to set our opponent onto reversal mode. We're going to do enhanced falling death here, right? So essentially, once he gets an opportunity to do an amplified move, he's going to do one. Let's test some strings that we talked about. Let's try 1-3. Has a gap. Oh, I didn't talk about 1-2-2 also. This is great for pushback, but it also has a gap. I'll show you the string though. Right, decent amount of damage, decent amount of pushback. If you want a combo, you have to spend meter. All right, let's go back into gaps, right? So 1-2-2 has a gap. Oof. 1-3 has a gap. Ooh, let's check 2-1-4. Ooh, has a gap. Back 3-4. Ooh, has a gap. You start to notice a pattern. I've done videos covering my complaint with Reptile with this before. I don't know why it is that I'm attracted to characters that do all of this fun stuff but are completely BS on most of their pressure. Now, ideally, you don't want to spend meter in every single situation that you have to get out of Quan's pressure. A lot of the time, if his game plan is working the way that he wants, he's not going to be there in the first place, right? But the second he gets in your face, everything he does is fake for the most part. If you're not sure, you can probably just mash, right? Now, this works the same as anything else. I can stop and then try to get punishes for you, but if you're the Quan player, having to manage that mind game all the time of doing a stand one and waiting and then giving up pressure if they don't do that can be annoying. So you're gonna have to manage that as you get close. But everything he does has a gap in it. Let's talk about how he tries to avoid being in the situation in the first place, which again is sticking to his game plan. Managing distance. Welcome to chapter 2. Shoving your opponent away and taking advantage of his specials, which we're going to cover very fast because they help with his game plan. Let's go ahead and set us to full screen distance and then cover all of his notable specials. First one's going to be Psycho Skull. It's essentially his version of Corpse Drop if you played Shang Tsung in Mortal Kombat 11. It is a projectile overhead that is cheeky. It launches on Amplify. Depending on what you're doing with him, you can get different conversions off of that. Best one you'll get is something like this, right? Different routes if they're a little bit closer, but ideally you're not going to get much off of amplifying Psycho Skull. When you do not amplify it, you have 4 different ranges on the special move. Holding back, we'll do the close version. Just doing a, this is all, sorry, I should tell you the notations, right? Down back 1 back is close. Down back 1 regular is normal. Down back 1 forward is far. And then down back 1 and up is very far. It is possible to aim it. You do have to aim it though. So if you're pestering somebody full screen, you'll have to do that. If you amplify it, it'll track regardless of where they are on screen. So you see here, it doesn't matter. I spend meter. It's always going to go to wherever the opponent is. And there is some caveat with it. I don't know if I can replicate it here, where you can do it at distances where if you have this portal version of it, one of the hits becomes a low. I might have to record this clip separately so I don't waste 8 hours doing it here. I'll give myself 2 more attempts, and then if not, I will show you a clip of it functioning that way. Okay, I wasn't able to do it. So if you're watching this video, enjoy this clip of me showing how it hits low randomly that I've spliced in. So it can become hard to blockable. In some situations, if you have enough advantage, even this alone can armor break opponents because it is double hitting. But you need enough frame advantage to time it. You'll get things like that off of ending combos and forward 4-4 to maximize that, and then checking them with a double hitting thing on wake up. And at full screen, you could potentially convert that, especially if it'll give you game. Depends on the character you're fighting. Be cautious with it. But that's Psycho Skull for you, right? We have his back forward 1, which is going to be his regular projectile. Decent on its own, right? It's a high, functions like a regular projectile. On Amplify, you end up getting this different version. We'll just call it different for now. It's got a bit of startup where it'll eat through projectiles and then hit the opponent, and it becomes a mid. It's got 3 different speeds too. We can do a slow one, a regular one, and a fast one. That's all controlled by doing back forward 1 back, back forward 1, or back forward 1 forward, respectively. It's very, very strong, right? Just for eating through projectiles. You also get to sit there and play mind games behind it, and then continue to zone your opponent as it provides opportunity. You can do this move in the air, right? Jump in the air, back forward 1. You can also amplify it in the air. Amplifying it also gives you access to the 3 different speeds. It's important to note, if it matters to you, that, well, it should matter to you if you're a Quan player, that the regular version of projectile cannot have its speed changed. Only the amplified version can. And the startup on this is pretty fat. You'll see right here 38 frames of startup, regardless of the version that I send out, right? All they're dealing with is the difference of speed. So when you are counter zoning people, you need to kind of preemptively do it so that it can eat through projectiles, right? You're not going to win a trading war with this all the time because you might get sniped out before you get the move out. If you're in a Quan Chi mirror, they're just going to stand for you the second they see you cooking up. You'll see here, I'll set the AI to do it, and I can just hit him on reaction every time before it comes out, and I have a lot of time to do that. So you want to be cautious with that. When you do it in the air, you have the regular version and the amplified versions, like we mentioned. You also have access to an instant air fireball, right? Or what some of us in the business like to call a TK fireball. That I'll try to not mess up. Looks something like this. Not that. Not that. Oh my god. This. Doing it immediately off the floor. This is a little harder to do. You can also amplify out of this, right? You can do if you do the fast amplified version, this is actually very cheeky, right? The reason I like this better is that there are distances with Quan Chi. You'll see if I set them to default, where you jump over people. You see here, it's already hitting the tip of his head. Any closer than this move will start whiffing. This can become problematic if people start approaching you horizontally as they get used to you jumping up and doing air fireballs, whereas this TK version, when I can land it, does not have that same problem. It's going to be a lot harder to approach you. Oh my god. You can see why there's a problem with consistency with it. You have to practice it. Oh, I've never failed so many times in my life. Okay. It's a muscle memory thing. And at full screen, it'll still snipe. You see, it's hitting toes, but it's hitting. So it's covering a very annoying arc. It's harder to jump over. You can kind of manage the distance at which you want to do it. You can also fall and then do it closer to the floor if TK is more problematic for you. But this is better. You'll do this by holding up and away, right? As if you're jumping away from somebody, and then doing forward and 1. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. There you go. That's how you do it. You'll want to practice that to get it down more consistent than I'm able to do it. It's very helpful if you can do that consistently. For some reason, when I'm in matches, I feel no stress to do it. But the second I have to record a YouTube video, I need me a blue chew to be able to not have performance anxiety doing TK fireballs. Okay. You also have down back 4. This is a low, and it's going to be a great combo extender. Right? Big skadoosh. You can amplify this for combo extension at the cost of 2 bars. Unless you have a kill, I usually do not think this move is worth it. There are sequences where you will notice you're at the end of a game and squeezing out a little bit of extra damage with something like a fatal blow. I'm going to cancel myself out of, so we don't have to watch the whole animation. Will work for you. In most cases, not worth it. Unless you know on hit confirm it's going to kill. In most situations, it's just a really great combo ender. So you'll end combos in it if your priority is damage. Has a nice brutality tagged along with it too. We have back forward 4, which is falling death. This is also going to act as his armored wake up, and it's an overhead. So it can also be very cheeky. Something like that, low overhead, is very annoying. It's also comboable at full screen off of his stand 4. Also, we didn't talk about his stand 4, did we? It's a high, it hits people in the back, it's very good. It's weak if they are simply doing this. I'll show you the problem with stand 4. See why I can't get him? Because he's moving. So they need to stay still. Or you need to set them up where they don't have time to walk forward. But ideally, any forward movement will lose to this. I don't think it's a bad tool. Outside of that, though, counter zoning, they can't do anything. It is minus 35-ish on block, 45 frames of recovery if it whiffs. So a lot of characters in the game can actually punish you. It's also up blockable for some reason. I'll show you what that looks like. Up blockable, which means you could depending on your character, do something back to Quan Chi. Characters like Tanya can dash up, do stand 3 and hit you. There's a bunch of options. But yes, outside of that, falling death, very cheeky, very good. In some situations, your best combo ender. You could do things into jump 4 and then end in back forward 4. And of course, again, it's your armored wake up tool. So if your opponent here, let's say, is all up in your grill, actually don't know how this is gonna work. Maybe I shouldn't set me to block. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, here we go. Now we'll show you how it works. Okay, so he's hitting me, right? We're gonna get knocked on our booty. And then we're gonna armor through the hit and get out. And it does a good cheeky amount of damage, 110. You can react to things full screen. So again, if our opponent, let's say, oh my god, I'm so good at managing these menus until I'm not, is tossing out projectiles. You could reactively punish people with things like that. It is a tracking move. It's very good, and the amplify does a little bit more damage and provides a hit of armor. It can lose to some armor break setups, and it also, like Mortal Kombat X, which I've heard it functions this way in the game. I didn't play X personally a lot. You guys let me know if you're interested in watching me play X. Maybe I'll do it as like a little retro callback video. I heard that in X, the armor's only active on the way down and you lose it once he's in the sky. If that was the case, in this game, it's the same way. Once he takes to the air, it's cut, right? Curtains. All right, let's turn this recording off. Another important move for him, Portal. Probably the most important move for him, because Quan Chi is only winning the match when Portal is active, right? Conceptually, you always want this thing on. When you have Portal, your regular projectiles, like back forward 1, for example, become free amplified versions of the moves, going from a single hitting 6 damage high to a triple hitting, however much damage, with a couple of mids thrown in, projectile. That also lets you jail off of things. So you could like stand 4 and then check people with that, and then just continue to be obnoxious. It's very good. If your opponent blocks this full screen, you're plus. Forgot about that, eh? Forgot about that, eh? If your opponent blocks this full screen, you're plus 19? Yeah, 19. This works similar for his Psycho Skull, which now becomes a meteor. That leaves you plus 18 full screen. And you see, covers a very annoying arc for people to jump past. They're not gonna like it. You still get amplified versions of the moves in this. So now you get an enhanced Big Skull, which will still eat through projectiles, but will also, launch the opponent at you, which allows you to get really nice conversions into Portal setup again. So if you preemptively called out your opponent being stupid and they didn't block this, let's just imagine it punished them. Just imagine for me that this punished. Oh my, and imagine I was hitting the combo. Into Fatal Blow. Your opponent can lose the match for getting caught with this. I'm gonna not play the minigame and let you see how much damage I consider to be guaranteed for a conversion like this if they get caught with this full screen. Oofies, that hits really hard, don't you thinks? Don't you thinks? There is a caveat with the air one that I think was important to note for the last time too. I think I forgot to mention this. That if you do this one, the air version of this will not eat through projectiles. So this will not eat a projectile, while this will. You're gonna want to note that. But this has faster startup and also gives you, let me try it again, faster timing. I'm not used to doing it off of this. The same conversion, right? Touchpad out so we don't have to watch the whole thing. Very, very good. Okay, another move that you have that's utility is relying on which cameo you're using is going to be Cage. Cage, you have to aim like Psycho Skull, so it's going to be a half circle forward input. If you do that and then back, you get close. If you do a regular, you get regular. If you do it in forward, you get far. You notice a pattern, and then up and you get the farthest. Farthest will hit people full screen. If you amplify it, they'll be stuck in it. Try to get close enough to them. Let's actually set us the default distance here. This will make this a lot easier. Perfect. They will get stuck in it. You will have time to pester them while they're in there. Now, they're not inescapable. What happened with my voice there? They're not inescapable. They can jump out of this. They can use advancing moves to get out, but it makes them have to telegraph their option, or they have to sit in there and hold your pressure. And with certain cameo setups, that can become extremely obnoxious. They're not going to want to do all that. A lot of times they will just sit in the cage and hold it. And anytime they get freaky, if they're like Scorpion or something, and they're like, I have a teleport, I'm not sitting here, you block. And then when you block their teleport, they die. You do whatever the best combo is that you have available to you. But it's very good. It can combo naturally off of some things. You'll see 1-2 will lead into it. I believe stand 4 full screen will lead into the far version that does combo. And with certain cameos, you can even turn that into damage opportunities. So, basic Quan Chi game plan, now that we understand all of this, is going to be as simple as, once the match starts, run away as best as you can. If that's contesting them a little bit, doing something that shoves them away, and then backing up, and then pestering, right? This is essentially everything that you're doing. Oh, I should also mention that there is a amplified version of Portal that pushes people away. You're going to want to save meter for that. It seems unimportant, but being able to do something like this and then get people off of you lets you punish them in some situations. There's also not a lot of ways with Quan Chi to force space, and you need space. So it's not always going to feel super important. Oh my God, please. It's not always going to feel super important, but that pushback does matter for a lot of matchups. The more you get accustomed to Quan, the more you'll find opportunities for it. Okay, but again, his game plan is going to be as simple as land a hit somewhere, get damage however you have to get the damage, and then get away from them, and then turn Portal back on and pester, right? You're going to be doing nothing but that for the entire game. Here, TK Skull, you'll see with Sektor here, cover it with Sektor, get Portal up, cover it with Sektor again, pester. Oh, look, all of that combo, that's great, right? And then we have a far-reaching Fatal Blow, which is good for counter zoning. Routing into it can be specific, but the length on it is very solid. You can even do a very cheeky, what I like to do, stand 4 people and shove them into it. And that's fun when they get hit. But land anything, so let's say you land 1-3. Here, do combo, shove them away, Portal. Let's say you land back 3-4. Here, continue the string. Sorry, I forgot the route for a second for whatever reason. Run up, shove them away, activate Portal. Forward 2-1 on its own, cheeky. You can do forward 2-1, sorry, excuse me, you can do forward 2-1 straight into Portal. Forward 2 straight into Cycle Skull, into something like this. Back away, do Portal, pester, do Portal. That's all you're doing with Quan. And you're trying your best to layer that as effectively as you can so that your opponents never get an opportunity to get next to you. It's just the most simplest game plan in terms of back up, and you're probably doing better. The only time you're struggling is when you're fighting another zoner, and you're usually out-zoning them. As far as when you're full screen. When you're full screen, you're usually only struggling at this distance if the opponent also has a zoner or a teleporting character. If they're a pressure character, every time they get past this wall, don't take this 100% literal, but try to fight with this mindset that if they get past your projectiles, it's always your fault, and you have to now shove them back out again to go through the cycle. And you're essentially trying to get them to run through an obstacle course that they'll never get past to get to you and die in the process. You are very weak defensively when they get to you. All of your moves have incredibly slow startup or are highs, so this isn't real, this isn't real. Forward 2 is a mid, which is why you're going to check with it a lot, but it's slow on startup, and it is minus 13 on block, which means you can get punished for it. Forward 4-4 is generally safe, but you give up a turn and you don't want them to get close to you. Everything is going to function in this manner, so you're going to be very cautious when they're up close, which is why you're going to take advantage of moves like this to get that bit of distance that you can't get, and then try to use that distance to be minus 14 a little farther, or to protect yourself. That's the entire game plan. How do cameos help with that? Let's talk about it. Starting with Sektor. Gives you interesting things, right? The main use of Sektor is going to be... Actually, let me retract that statement. Quan Chi makes great use of all of Sektor's moves in a way that a lot of other characters cannot, which is why they actually pair pretty well together. This is my personal favorite. I don't think it's his strongest. We'll get to that. Tele Punch, full screen, can combo off of stand 4. This can lead into extensions, right? Nice combo check. So if you catch somebody lacking, it's great. If you have Portal up, You can even, at pretty far distances, land combos, go right back into your zoning. Very strong for things like that. You can get combo extensions off of a well-timed sectored ambush. It'll look something like this. Go back to the game plan. Very solid, right? Nice little chunk of damage. If you are in the corner, you can loop combos off of this. Let me set us to the corner and show you what that looks like. Pretty good damage, methinks. Pretty good damage, methinks, for something like that. If you overextend with something, like back 3-4, where we talked about now you have to cover yourself, right? You can call out Sektor, and now you're plus. That's pretty great. You can even use Sektor as an anti-air if you want. I wouldn't recommend doing this. You already have one of the best anti-airs in the game, but let's say you wanted to, and you were a little farther away. Get restand, go back into zoning. Get restand, check them with stand 4, go back into zoning. Anti-air them if they do it again, you know? This is very cool. I like Sektor a lot for that as well. You can force them to deal with you at full screen, because if they block missile, they essentially are jailed into dealing with your stand 4, which means you get another special move cancel off of it. He's very good for that. If you've yet to see the Sonic Fox combo, I'll replicate it for you real quick so you can get an example of what that looks like. I'm going to set us back to center screen here. See if I can not drop it. Oh my god, excuse me, I'm not the best. So close, guys, sorry. We were right there. One more shot at it. If not, I'll show you a clip. Last shot. I understand what I'm doing wrong. There we go. I knew I just needed one more opportunity to land it. And look at the damage cash out. This is possible with Sektor. Basically from default distance and maybe a half step away from that. You're not going to land this from full screen. This is also no minigame, right? So if I was mashing on my buttons, I could get this into like upwards of 60%. Very strong combo with Sektor. A lot of cool stuff. Might want to consider running him. You can even do a little preemptive, combos into cage, right? So he gives you a lot of very interesting extensions off of Quan Chi stuff and helps cover your ass when you're going for the zoning game plan by forcing people to block. When they have to block the missile, it means they have to take all of the chip from your projectiles or just get hit by them. That all adds up. So nice set play, combo extension. Oh, he also provides you an armor break. Let me showcase that one for you. I'm actually going to, let me see. We'll do a get up, enhance falling death. Let's go ahead and set us into the corner again. Let's set us to close distance just in case I drop it a couple of times. Not full screen. Close, and let's just make sure that he's working. Perfect. You could do things like this. And then get combos that way. Into full extension. Check out my Twitter if you want to see more of the routes. Let's talk about Cyrax. So Cyrax is a very interesting cameo for Quan Chi, because you get combo extensions here that you normally wouldn't get. Quan Chi is one of the few characters that can actually combo straight into net. You'll notice the hits right now are on the right hand side of the screen because I'm controlling player 2. 1, 2, into Cyrax net, combos, and we can get very interesting things off of this. You also want to keep in mind that since Cyrax has been adjusted after the most recent patch, net also meter drains. So if they cannot break by the time they get hit with the net, they can break on the hit of the net, for the record. But if they cannot break before then, or at least by the time the net hits them, they will not be able to break after, which means you get guaranteed conversions. And if you have ever been hit with Cyrax net, I think you're fully aware of the fact that you get hit with Cyrax net, and then it feels like your opponent has, I don't know, 7 hours to do whatever they want and set up anything. For Quan Chi, this can be a lot of interesting stuff. So here's an example route that a lot of players are doing. Again, forgive me if I drop it. I'm being real with you guys, trying not to, but we'll see what we can do. You have so much time that you can actually whiff a Psycho Skull for meter gain, right? So if you get really, really optimal with Quan, you'll do this. If not, you don't have to, but you have enough time to do this. To set up a portal, to summon the next cameo, to still hit him for conversion, and then get a combo. So we have effectively drained meter from him, set up portal, whiffed a, sorry, wrong order, hit him with the Psycho Skull to gain meter while draining his meter. Then set up our portal for combo conversion. Then it summoned self-destruct and was still able to hit him with a stand 4, all while he's losing a bar of meter. To then put him in a situation where we're still comboing him at the end. Now you'll do a more optimal combo, and I will drop a combo guide for Quan Chi with all of the cameos some point later this week or later next week, depending on when this gets uploaded. Some point soon after this upload to show. But it's very, very strong to do that. And then of course you get a, I'm gonna see if I understand how to time this, but you get throw combos in the same fashion, and then you could jump up and get conversions off of that. I don't know why he's doing this on Wake Up. This is very interesting. Let me just turn this get up mode off. Feels better. Okay. This also means now that if you're zoning, if they happen to get hit with Cyrax, that's just even better for you. You could use the fact that they get caught with that to just go up, let them get meter drained, and then immediately cancel into Fatal Blow for a match confirm. So net now is great. Combo extensions off of horizontal copter into whatever you want, right? You get very, very interesting options with Cyrax, but the main thing for me is really going to be 1-2 into net. You could even... Oh my god, I hit the touchpad. Do things like this. Oh my god, I'm horrible! Set up cage behind them. That's not the right move to shove them into cage. I think I'm playing Sub-Zero. Oh, come on. One last chance. I mean, you guys see the vision, but shove them into cage and then start pressuring them while they're in cage. You get nice set play with it. Very, very strong. But being able to combo this off of 1-2 is going to be the main thing, because you usually don't get combo routes off of 1-2. Again, remember, without having to spend meter. Cyrax gives you not only those routes, but the ability to drain their meter and set up 17 things while you do that. If you're interested in Cyrax, maybe you want to check them out. Let's talk about Sub-Zero. Okay, Sub-Zero. Now, Sub-Zero is probably one of the best cameos Quan Chi has for going for as close as you can get to guaranteed unblockable resets, depending. Now, I'm going to show you a route that's a little more reliant on you being able to react to get up or delayed get up, but conceptually, I think it'll sell the point of what Sub-Zero offers to Quan Chi. First of all, let's not forget about the ambush, right? That's going to stop people from counter zoning you, so you can set a portal while they can't zone you, but you can zone them. That's always going to be strong. And then, of course, we talked about covering things, in which case shoulder will help by pushing people away and keeping you safe. Now let's talk about some set play with Sub-Zero that I think is a lot more entertaining and a lot more fun than the rest of the stuff. Let's look at a route like this, see if I can hit it. Jump to kill some time. And a well-timed throw to actually guarantee you see that Quan Chi there tried to wake up. Now that's actually not even the ideal timing. Let me see if I can get the other one. But it just goes to show how I messed the route up and was still covered. And you get combo extension there. That actually did link. And then, of course, the ability here to like set up and then go into other zoning tools depending on how you want to answer people. All very fun stuff that Sub-Zero provides. That's more or less what he's adding to the table. Now, you can definitely go online and find a lot more footage on that. In fact, if you follow me on Twitter, shoot me a DM or comment on one of my tweets or something. And if you need the resources, I'll dig around for the Quan Chi sauce that I found and send it to you. There's a lot of it, too much to cover in a YouTube video. We'd have to do a whole separate one. Let's talk about Kung Lao. Kung Lao, for me, quite arguably right now, is his best cameo pairing that you can find. You'll see some players online argue that it's Serena, argue that it's maybe Goro. I'll be honest with you guys, I don't like lying to you guys, right? If they say it's Serena right now, they're casual. Serena's kind of like Baby's first cameo, what she offers to Quan Chi. There's really nothing outside of a bit of extra health. And being Serena, obviously, gives him a 40% combo like everybody else does. I want you to think in the terms of utility, right? Things that Quan Chi cannot do that he can only do with access to those cameos. Well, here's something that, like, Kung Lao's going to give him. So we have Lao Hat, right? Lao Hat's obviously been adjusted, so it's not as safe full screen. Again, right, the sake of covering things, that's a big thing for Quan Chi up close. Canceling things into Lao Hat keeps them -3 without you having to spend bar to make him -3. You don't have to be as cautious with your distance management. For 1, I think this would be very ecstatic for you guys. I'm gonna be quiet and execute this, and then I'll let you guys have an opinion on it. Oh, I dropped it. Hold on. Sorry, forgive me, guys. Oh, I'm horrible. Does that not look a little beefy to you? Does that not? Why does this always go back to this? That not look a little insane that he just did that full screen? That was a 30% confirmed full screen. In fact, let me show you what a full cash out on something like this looks like. Now, this is not realistic, but it's possible. And I want you to let me know if it ruffles your feathers a little bit when you see it. I might have waited too long. Yeah, I did. One more time. He's the worst fighting game player on the planet. When he tries to do a combo, he can't hit the combo. That makes him the worst. Until he lands it for his YouTube video. Okay. No minigame played, right? I do this to show you if we're both mashing the same amount, this is the damage we get anyway, right? We would cancel each other out with the Fatal Blow minigame. Full screen if Lao Hat connects, Quan has the potential to do 440% practically if you round it up appropriately. Damage to his opponent, okay? We talked about Cyrax giving you the ability to confirm off of a stand 1-2. Well, in that same vein, so does Lao in his own way. Send them away, go back to zoning. So you also get confirms off of 1-2 without having to spend bar. You also get, if you notice, that's, oh, sorry, I'm horrible. Low overhead, right? Now I did it slowly in the beginning to show you conceptually. Now, parts of blockables, right? Low overhead, overhead low, depending. Ideally, you want Hat to hit first, sorry, pardon me, so that hits after, and you can get your conversions, right? Do it into stand 4, get whatever you want. Really great stuff. I mean, if Lao Hat full screen into that combo that I can't hit 50% of the time, didn't necessarily get you bricked up, I don't know what will. Guys, Quan Chi is ridiculous. I'm gonna post some match footage playing him. It might be from casuals, because I don't know if you guys are having the same desync daddy issue where you can't get through a Combat League set without the game desynchronizing right now and not letting you play. I'm gonna attempt to stream it later tonight. If you are watching this YouTube video and you're like, when's later tonight? Go stop by my Twitch channel and check over at twitch.tv/kevinmcolon. I'm also considering doing some YouTube streams. So if you guys would like to play some viewer sets with me live over here on the YouTube side of things, let me know down below. I'm interested to see how fun that would be. With that said, Quan Chi's great. I hope you guys like him. Let me know if you find anything cool with him. Share it with me on Twitter if you do. And I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great time. Love you. Peace.